Hello and welcome to the second semifinal here at the Magic Online Championship. There you get a look at our players. There's Magnus Lanto on the left. Oh, we're not down there yet. Well, I can see Magnus Lanto on the left, and I can see Alexa Teleroff on the right. And they are getting ready to go and waiting for these guys to get into the game. And here we go. And we've led things off with a Jungle Hollow from Alexa Teleroff.
Now Alexa looks like he has the nice little interactions. He's got the Thoughtseize, he's got the Hero's Downfall, and he's got the Den Protector to even buy one of them back if he really wants to.
And now he's going to Thoughtseize. He's going to see a 1 land, 7 cards left in hand here for Magnus Lanto. So I guess we're going to assume he's going to take the Radical Mystic.
Yeah, I mean, Magnus just has nothing else to do except that Death Mist Raptor, but that's even, you know, only if he hits a land. I think Alexa's definitely got the better starting hand here. You know what I want to see? I just want to see an Atarka like breathe fire on a bunch of Hornets, right? How fitting would that be? Just neither of which, of course, in either player's hand, but I can dream.
These games have gone long enough.
This is very true.
We've definitely seen you know, crispy insects over the course of the standard rounds yesterday.
We've seen a lot of crispy everything, soldiers, even raptors, man.
So yeah, and he does take the Radical Mystic.
Again, that just completely negates Magnus's opening hand until he hits a land or, you know, draws another 2-drop.
Yeah, instead he draws another Death Mist Raptor. Oh, and another Thoughtseize here for Teleroff.
So Alexa knows all but one of the cards in Magnus's hand. He might be, you know, tempted not to play the Thoughtseize this turn.
Well, I mean, he doesn't necessarily want to take the Death Mist Raptor.
Exactly.
So he doesn't expect there to be anything in there that he can cast.
I wouldn't be surprised if he just played the face down Den Protector this turn, and then follow that up with a course of the following turn, and then he can immediately play a land off the top if he has one. Now, if we're looking on the bright side for Magnus, you know, if he draws 2 more or 2 more cards that he can't play, he gets to discard the Raptors.
Oh, very exciting.
Yeah, that's...
Then he just needs to draw more.
Yeah, then another land and flip it up. And I'm trying to be objective here, you know. So Alexa taking his time here, thinking about his play.
Well, I think he's thinking, like, could he have drawn something that I really want to get here? Or do you think he's just past that? No,
I think he's past that. He knows he didn't draw a 2-drop. He would have played it.
Knows he didn't draw land.
And yeah, they know their deck lists in and out, so I guess he's just wondering, you know, what kind of 3 might he be drawn to really hurt him. And I guess Courser would be annoying, certainly. But he's got the downfall for the first creature that Magnus plays.
So yeah, so he gets to basically do the thing that Den Protectors do. He can play face down Den Protector and get back Thoughtseize.
Exactly.
That's all it ever does, right? Unless you're chaining Den Protectors.
Yeah, it makes you cry a little bit when you cast Thoughtseize on your opponent 3 times. It makes the opponent cry, that is to say. How good is this Genesis Hydra looking for Magnus right now? Whoa, he does fire off the Thoughtseize.
Okay, well, I guess he just wasn't certain what he could have had there.
I think that's an interesting line. Because I think in the long run, Magnus can probably go over the top of Alexa. Although I guess Alexa does have that whip. Of course, both of these players running Whisperwood Elemental, 4 Death Mist, 4 Den Protect. Oh, I'm sorry. Magnus is only running 2 Death Mist, so he's actually drawn both of them.
So what do you take here? Do you take the Whisperwood Elemental or the Pelucranos?
I'd be tempted to take the Whisperwood.
Like
he has 2 of them though.
But you can get over the next couple turns. Sure. You can play a face down Den Protector. Next turn, flip it up, get the other, get the Thoughtseize back. I mean, you're taking a little bit of a ding on your life total there, but
Better than him casting them in.
If this game's going to turn around for Lanto, it does seem to include him hitting enough lands to get to No, he takes the Pelucranos.
Yes, he does.
Scries.
Oh, again, Magnus is so far away from casting those Whisper Woods.
Oh, a little closer.
It's not too bad. A decent draw. And actually one that Alexa can't interact with.
Yeah, cannot kill his mana source.
But Alexa does have perfect information at this point. And he does find the land on top. And a Murderous Cut.
Okay, so there is land number 3 for Lanto.
It does come into play tapped, but we're going to see him scry here. Hopefully hit his 5th
Well, yeah,
land.
then he's getting into Whisperwood
exactly.
Territory.
And this is kind of why I wanted to take the Whisperwoods out of Magnus's hand from the Thoughtseize. It's harder to interact with a Whisperwood elemental than it is with a Polychronos.
Yeah. Okay, there you see. Right, he had the Hero's Downfall for the Pelucranos too. So Xenagos the Reveler is coming up in a turn.
Yeah, because you can kill the Polychronos, the turn after on your next turn. But Whisperwood, if you let it live, they're going to get a manifest out of it at the very least. All right, what are we seeing here? Looks like he might just pass. Remember, he knows he has double Whisperwood.
Yeah, he's got cut and he's got Hero's Downfall at the ready. So Xenagos for Lanto.
See him put in a Satyr token. And looks like he's just passing the turn. So do you downfall the Xenagos here? It looks like he is.
He's absolutely going to.
Alrighty. Down goes Xenagos. Reveling no more.
Yeah, and now the party has turned, and Alexa will be the Reveler.
Now that he has enough cards in his graveyard, I might be tempted to run it out myself, right? And then you can still hold up Murderous Cut.
Yeah, that's what I'm assuming he's going to do here, right? He has that. He has enough cards in his yard where he can do both.
Wonder how long it's going to take him to pull that trigger on the Den Protector.
Well, with Hero's Downfall and Murderous Cut,
right
probably
now,
going into his yard.
All right, Magnus hits his 5th land, and it does come into play untapped.
Yeah, 5th mana source.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
4th land and then the carry added.
So he's gonna play the Whisperwood Elemental. It's gonna not live to the end step.
It's gonna get cut.
Yeah.
And luckily for Alexa here, he has the Bloodstained Mire, so that's gonna allow him to delve away all but one of the cards in his yard. So he gets to keep some value for the Den Protector besides the Murderous Cut that's already gonna go then to the graveyard.
Right, he's probably keep Cut and Hero's Downfall.
For sure. Actually, do you take Downfall? All right. I mean, you could even leave a Thoughtseize there. It's gonna basically do the same thing.
Actually, it is gonna do. Yeah, that's true.
At the cost of 2 life, of course.
So Deathmiss Raptor rumbles in, eats a Xenagos token.
And I'm actually liking Magnus's position here a lot. He's just got a lot of his bombs to finish out the game. Enough mana to cast them now.
Okay, so Whisperwood Elemental comes down.
Alexa.
Bloodstained Mire gets sacrificed.
Making sure to do this before he goes to the Magnus's end step. Doesn't want Magnus to get a free manifest card.
Let's see what he's going to leave in his yard here.
Delverino the Mire, almost assuredly. Thoughtseize, of course, one. Decisions. So I guess the thought here is that if you take the Thoughtseize, you get to...
Well, he can just proactively take care of that other Whisperwood Elemental.
at the cost of 2 life. So I think he's wondering, you know, is that 2 life worth it, or I'm just forced to hold up my mana when Magnus plays his second Whisperwood.
Well, it's just his most mana efficient play, though, right? Like, he gets to develop his board with the Den Protector, pick up the Thoughtseize. Yeah, he does leave Thoughtseize in there.
Now, he still can take the Murderous Cut, too, if he wants to. Pretty good top of the deck here for him. It's always nice to see a Deathmist Raptor when you've got any kind of morph in your hand.
The question is whether or not he's going to play and use that morph right now.
And that's what he was setting up his turn to be.
Yeah, and that is what he's going to do. So there'll be a Genesis Hydra. Well, unless he takes Genesis Hydra. He can't possibly. He has to just take the Whisperwood Elemental.
Yeah, I think you have to take the Whisperwood.
So there's Thoughtseize. Get it back, cast it. Look at your hand. I know the card's in there already.
Because Genesis is what, currently for 3, which is not too scary in Magnus's deck.
Yeah, either way. This is the bigger 2 cards.
Correct.
Yeah, he does, and he does take the Whispered Elemental, so makes a token.
And this might just be a battle of the Planeswalker versus the non-Planeswalker.
You know, and despite casting, 3 Thoughtseizes, with the Courser of Krufix, Alexis still at 18.
That life, though. It's always nice to get the full value out of your Courser. And it looks like the only removal main deck for Magnus is going to be that for Polychronos. Yeah.
Yeah, well, like you said before, he's largely mono green.
Sure.
Right? He's splashing a tiny bit of red.
I'm sorry, Atarka can also deal with it.
Oh,
too.
yeah. We're a little bit away from Atarka.
I still want to see it breathe on some bees. Speaking of Atarka, we see the top of Alexa's library.
Oh.
It's a pretty spicy one.
He is not that far from Atarka here. In fact, he is right on top of Atarka mana.
Bum, bum, bum. Plus, the Xenagos could produce up to 3 mana currently if he really needed to.
Yeah, and with Atarka on top, he's going to send some creatures into the red zone. Attacks with just the Courser of Krufix into the Satyr token. No blocks. A little bit more land. Now Lanto's deck is starting to deliver the mana, but it's kind of like needs to do 2 jobs now. Exactly. It needs to deliver the mana. It also needs to deliver some sort of game plan for him.
And I think
that's been taken apart by the Thoughtseizes.
I think at this point Magnus is just going to be so far behind after the Atarka resolves that he can't really come back from it. His deck really needs to pressure Alexa before Alexa gets, just even an Atarka down. Because again, the lack of removal in his deck it's going to mean that's just under a over a 2-turn clock.
Right. And Magnus has to pressure Xenagos here.
Correct.
So you see him attack Xenagos, and Alexa's willing to trade a Den Protector to absorb that damage and take down one of the Deathmist Raptors.
Den Protector is proving to be so good.
Oh, I mean, it's Eternal Witness, right?
Yeah.
It's Eternal Witness with the ability to be more aggressive.
It's hard for a lot of creatures to block it.
Okay, so there's another Deathmist Raptor.
And Mama's home.
And here comes a Dragon Lord.
And that'll just end it in 2 turns after he takes out the Raptor and the Satyr token.
There you go. See the triggered abilities. Delivers 5 damage. However you would like to split that up. Makes another Reveler token and is going to just attack with everybody here.
Get in for 4 damage. So Magnus needs to draw land into...
I think he needs to draw a card in someone else's deck.
Land into Hornet Queen, I think. And even then...
Yeah, I don't think he has time for that.
Well, he had this 1 turn. Okay, land's not bad. Now we see the Genesis Hydra. This can hit a 5-er.
Yep, X equals 5. There's the Hornet Queen you wanted, but it is 2 off.
Yep.
He can get a Courser of Krufix.
And that's the card he needed to draw. He only has 1 Hornet Queen in the main deck, so
So it's tucked all the way on the bottom. We're going to need a much bigger Genesis Hydra to get to it again.
And we're just going to see an 8-8 flying trampler take over this game now.
So Magnus has another Genesis Hydra.
I'd like to imagine Xenagos just, carefully plotting his hands together. Yes, Tatarka, yes.
I think Xenagos is actually just like going woo. He's just a party guy.
Yeah, he is.
He's not a finger steepler.
I wonder what Alexa's thinking about here.
Alexa's been doing a lot of thinking. Look at the clock differential here. 14 minutes for Alexa, 21 minutes for Magnus.
Now, you do have a lot of time to think about your plays, but you want to make sure you're at least preserving some if you take it to game 3.
Well, it's one of the nice things about Magic Online is like you can't, right, like you said, you can think about that,
yeah.
but you're not taking away from a mutual clock. You're just
Correct.
taking away from your own clock.
Exactly. Magnus with the classic face on fist.
All right. He's going to cast his Death Mist Raptor face down.
We saw Alexa play very deliberately as well in the final round of Swiss yesterday. Obviously, he was playing for top 4, so a little bit higher stakes. Playing for higher stakes, at least.
All right. In comes a Dragon Lord threatening to do this over 2 turns. What can Magnus do with another 5 from his Genesis Hydra? He's got another Genesis Hydra. He can play it for 5, where X equals 5.
And
Is
we
there
know
anything
looking at the
he
deck,
can find?
Nope.
Pelucranos doesn't do it. Whisperword Elemental's not going to do it for him.
You should probably just put out the other Genesis Hydra. Seems like a good line.
Just to see what happens.
Caryatid hits the table, and he is going to be dead on board.
Yep. And then Dragon Lord Atarka attacks, goes to -1, and that is the game. Alexa Teleroff takes game 1 here against Magnus Lanto. So here we see the guys sideboarding. And they, these guys were in the room pretty late last night. Yeah. We were doing some drafting, but these guys were pretty hard at work, working on their sideboard plans for exactly this match, right? Just broken up into sort of little groups. So you see,
they know exactly what their game plan is.
So what do we see Alexa doing there?
I actually think I saw Alexa take out every single one of his Death Mist Raptors in favor of bringing in Crux of Fate and some more control-y aspects as well. I like the double Outpost Siege. That's nice. So it looks like he's trying to play a more long, grindy matchup here.
A long, grindy control game?
Yeah, yeah.
When he's down to 13 minutes on the clock?
I mean, if that gives him a better game plan, sure. He did take out the Whip of Erebos, though. Oh, he also took out all of his Whisperwoods. Interesting. I think he knows that Magnus's deck just has to win with creatures. That's all Magnus is doing, just playing out a bunch of creatures and getting value. Of course, you have the Dragon Lord Atarka for some value. Genesis Hydras, Hornet Queen gives you all those creatures. Whisperwood for some more.
So Magnus is really just looking to
swarm the board, I think. Now the sideboard timers are a little bit different than the in-game, so you get a little bit extra time here to think about your plays. Looks like he took out an additional Xenagos.
All right.
Here you see the players once again, and you're
Magnus
just about ready
to play. And there we take a look at their opening hands. And that's a pretty nice hand there for Magnus Lanto.
Yeah, it's a little bit awkward because the Rugged Highlands comes into play tap, and he doesn't have an untapped green source for turn 1 to get that Mystic on the table. But I think it's definitely the double Atarka Hornet Queen is slightly awkward. He might be tempted to keep it just because he has Nykthos, but You know,
yeah, if that was a wooded foothills.
exactly. As it stands, it's actually a little bit slow, and he is opting to mulligan it down to 6.
Okay.
And I think Alexa here has to mulligan as well.
Similarly awkward hand.
Wow, he keeps it. I'm quite surprised Alexa kept this hand. It doesn't...
We're 0 for 2 on mulligan decisions there.
Again, these guys have ground the matchup all night yesterday, so I assume they know better than us, but...
Oh, yeah. That goes without saying.
Well, he hits certainly a nice one there with a courser on turn 3.
So we had turn 3...
He carry added right on time.
Carry added, not so he thought he was going to play the Raptor, but and that's going to actually live. Yeah. Whereas if he'd played the Raptor, that could have gotten downfalled.
Exactly. Not that you'd want to use a downfall there, but turn 4 Whisperwood ×2. You know, pretty decent.
All right, here's a courser.
Ah,
reveals Crux of Fate.
The thing is, Crux is not exactly the greatest against a Whisperwood.
Well, I assume that the first Whisperwood is simply going to get here as downfall here.
Yeah. I mean, he's already going to get
but he already gets an advantage off it,
exactly.
Right? There's the first manifest. How high can we go in manifest this game?
I'm going to say 3 tops. 3
okay.
tops.
All right. There's the line.
All right. Courser showing a courser on top of Alexa's deck. This is not the place where you want to read the bones. He's almost certainly just going to pop off the Whisper.
No attack. Passes the turn.
I think what Magnus is probably going to do is just pre-combat the other Whisperwood and attacking with his other one. Although he does know the Crux is online. It makes it a little bit awkward. I don't know. I guess he waits and sees what happens to his current Whisperwood.
All right, here it comes. Rumbles in.
Alex is opting to take it here. Interesting. No thought seizes this time for him, so he doesn't have any information on what could be in Magnus's hand.
Yeah, not so much fun when you don't have all the information, is it? Flips up Rattleclaw Mystic.
All right. That net gain.
So that was a nice manifest there.
That's actually really good for Magnus because now if Alexa goes to Crux the board, you know, Whisperwood's going to give him another manifest in response because the Rattleclaw will die instead of the manifest.
So do you think he's going to just play the second Whisperwood here?
It looks like he's going to play the Raptor instead.
Okay.
Again, he knows about the Crux and he doesn't want to just go all in.
Okay.
That being said, he could play them all. He's got that Nykthos. If you play one, I think you play the other, almost certainly.
I mean, are you thinking at all about, you know, Hero's Downfall into Crux? I mean, if you don't play it, if you don't play the second Whisperwood Elemental, you're pretty vulnerable to a removal spell followed by the board sweeper.
But he might not be thinking that Alexa has one, since Alexa, you know, opted not to kill the Whisperwood. He already took 4 damage from it.
Yeah. So Hero's Downfall is going to take out the Whisperwood Elemental here, and does that impact his mana? Well, obviously it does. Takes him down, knocks him down 2 mana off of the... Okay.
He still has enough now if he taps the Caryatid or the Mystic.
Yeah, and he does. And here comes another Whisperwood Elemental. Yeah, he's going to tap the Rattleclaw instead.
Oh, 3 Hexproof seems like a better defender.
Yeah, absolutely. So he gets another manifest. We're getting closer to Dragonlord Atarka here. 2 turns away. And
that second Whisperwood's really making it awkward for Alexa here. If he does go for the Crux, which I think he might have to do at this point, then Magnus is still going to get a nice number of manifest.
He can't go for the Crux here. He's going to just then face off against...
But they're all 2/2s.
Sure.
Random 2/2s. I think I'd rather face off against random 2/2s.
But if any one of them flips up,
that's true.
Then
the Raptor comes back.
Raptor comes back.
Yeah. But that buys him time for Atarka.
You know, if one of them's a Den Protector...
You gotta take your risks sometimes.
Okay, so we know that that manifest is not a
Not
den
a creature.
protector.
Okay.
It's a Hornet Queen.
Looks like there's only one den protector from the sideboard for Magnus. At first glance, I thought he had run the full 4 packages, but remember, he's only running the 2 Death Mist Raptors,
Right.
so that makes a lot more sense. And I think if Alexa's aware of that fact,
All right,
he'll certainly
looks
pop
like
the
he is
Crux.
going to cast. He is going to destroy all non-dragons with Crux of Fate. So now you're going to see Whisperword Elemental get sacrificed, its ability. So now you get 3 manifests on the stack from the creatures that were face up.
Boom, boom, boom.
I mean, who doesn't want to do that?
Yeah. Still looking very good for Magnus, but I think that was Alexa's only play.
So he's 2 turns away from being able to cast his dragon. He's got the mana. Does he have the time?
And considering Magnus's deck is almost all creatures and then just 2 Xenagos, gotta assume one of them hit a creature.
The manifests here are Hornet Queen, Hydra, and Nykthos.
All right, Courser's a decent hit.
So there's a Thoughtseize on top.
Do you want to see Thoughtseize when your opponent has no cards in hand?
No. But he does have Read the Bones, and we may... Or his Temple of Abandon.
Sure,
He'll just scry it
Put
away.
that on the bottom. He's just trying to live one more turn.
And it looks like he is going to live one more turn.
Well, you said the manifests were what again?
Hornet Queen, Hydra, and Nykthos.
Okay.
So none of those are particularly exciting to flip up here.
Exactly, yeah.
And, Sid in fact says, "Yep, I'm gonna no." does a little Swedish 2-step there.
You see Alexis smile. He's like, all right, what's that? What do you got there?
Like, oh, so your morphs are all garbage, huh? Your manifest. Oh, he just sends in 1. So that's going to be the Hornet Queen.
Now, the nice thing is this is just a straight-up trade that eats up, Magnus's whole turn. Alexa's got to be way happy about this. And now he can play the Atarka next turn.
Yeah, he does get to bring the Death Mist Raptor back.
Sure, but
Atarka is going to be able to clean up a fair amount of this mess.
And I think if you're Alexa, you're just, very, very happy. You get to take out both manifests and the Mystic. You have a Read the Bones to follow up. You're sitting in grape shape. You have an 8/8 flying trample versus a lonely 3/3 death touch.
All right, here comes the Dragon Lord Atarka.
And just like that, the game has swung immensely.
You could just leave the Death Mist Raptor alone here, right?
Yep.
Yeah, you kill
everything
elf,
else.
2 manifests.
You've got a 3-turn clock. Ooh, that is a very nice hit for Magnus here. This is going to give him probably 2 threats.
Death Mist Raptor gets to attack.
Mm-hmm. We were so close to seeing Atarka breathing fire on the Hornet Queen. I'm a little bit upset. So
Do you
X
really
is
wanna
5 here.
And so Rattleclaw Mystic or Courser of Crufix are his
Gotta assume we take
options.
the Courser.
He does take the Courser.
Even hits a land on top. Oh, and he
Oh.
sees the Nissa coming up. Oh, how the game has turned.
It's a little difficult for Teleroff to attack here.
He's gonna read the bones first, see if he hits anything that would allow him to attack. He's smiling. What does he have? He's like, I don't know. Of course, Wayfinder actually proving to be a useful creature. The Genesis Hydra doesn't have trample. Granted, Nissa turning a land into
I was just going to say,
yeah.
the land does. Oh, but he gets
Wow.
Den Protector. He is going to be able to set up a Crux of Fate, leaving his Dragon Lord Atarka behind.
That seems pretty decent to me. So you draw your Nissa.
There's
Question
a
is,
Xenagos looming.
do you attack with everything after animating a land? If you're even planning on animating a land. I gotta assume that's pretty good.
Well, you're getting through for at least 5 there.
Correct, yeah. And when your opponent's that low, and now you know you're drawing Xenagos next turn as well. I think we're going to see the power of Den Protector once again. Atarka.
All right. There is Nissa. Let's take a look at that. And target land you control becomes a 4/4 elemental creature with trample. It's still a land. And there it is. 4/4 forest.
I don't think I'd be too happy if I saw a forest running at me, you know?
No. I've watched the Lord of the Rings movies.
Yeah,
They're
you
scary.
know how this ends.
That's Ents.
Well played. Well played.
Can Magnus attack here? Can get Telerov down to 3. Yeah.
And he's going to ship the team. So we'll see the Dragon Lord. Actually, the Dragon Lord is probably going to block the land here because it has trample. And then the morph onto the Genesis Hydra, setting up that that Crux that you were talking about. Preserve the most life. And being at 3 is highly relevant. You know your opponent's going to draw that Xenagos, but Xenagos only produces 2/2s.
So there's the Den Protector.
Yep, Snap gets the Crux. So now he gets to play Courser, gain a life after Cruxing, kill the Nissa, and he's, you know, again in a great position.
There you go. Once
It's just haymaker after haymaker.
Brian Weissman just dreamt of a world where he could keep his Serra Angel and kill all the other creatures. This is just not a fair card.
No.
Gets up to 4, has a blocker for the token that we know is coming off of the Xenagos. This is crazy.
Better than your average blocker. It's gaining you life. It's going to be very hard for Magnus to come back from this position. It's going to involve, again, drawing some combination of his own Atarka or...
well, his own Atarka would just end the game.
No, Atarka cannot hit players.
Oh, yes. Planeswalkers, not players.
Not quite Bogard and Hellkite. Oh, he reveals another Dragon Lord. So he can attack with his first Atarka, and then next turn, you know, play the second Atarka, kill the Xenagos if he really wants to. Although I think he's probably just going to play it safe here, I imagine. Attack and kill the Xenagos before it gets out of hand. Do you read the bones here? If you're Alexa?
I mean, there's nothing. Can Magnus do anything that punishes him? He has no burn spells. He has no...
He does have an Ugin from the sideboard. Ugin could do 3. He does have an... yes, he has 8 mana as well. All right. Thoughtseize, not exactly the card that you want to hit there. Wow. That'd be sick if Magnus ripped.
If he rips an Ugin?
Yeah, just through you. Did Alexa already play his land this turn? If so, that's a little bit awkward. It looks like he did already play his land, yeah. So I think Ugin is Magnus is out. 1 out of 37. Brian, I think that's about like 95% to draw it. I could be mistaken on that math, but...
All right. In comes Dragon Lord Atarka.
And he is just clocking Magnus. Den Protector, all right. His 1 of Den Protector from the sideboard. That is not a bad hit.
So Den Protector could get him Whisperwood, Hornet Queen, could get him Nissa, a Genesis Hydra.
And I think he can actually play the Den Protector, flip it up, and cast whatever he gets back because he has the Xenagos to then produce 2 mana. This is interesting. Granted, he does know Alexa has that other Dragon Lord Atarka in hand. Please, Hornet Queen, burn out the Hornets. One time. All right, let's see what he's doing here.
Are those fireflies? Not exactly. All right, here comes Den Protector. But he tapped his Nykthos.
Yeah, Nykthos is not going to have
It's
any
not going to
value,
just give him enough mana, yeah.
So he has up to 5 mana after flipping Den Protector.
Okay, here comes the Death. It's also going to trigger
Sure.
a Death Miss
Yeah,
Raptor.
absolutely. Alexa might be regretting his choice to attack the face as opposed to Xenagos,
Oh, yeah.
depending on what we see get back here. Yeah. So now he can actually, I forgot about the Death Miss, so he can actually produce, you know, enough mana to play the Nissa and attack with one of the lands. That's huge.
And it's a trampling land.
Correct.
So he's got to put the Courser of Crufix in front of it.
Exactly.
Which means it gives him one more turn
That Xenagos,
to draw an Ugin.
he might not even need to draw Ugin at this point. The other Atarka cannot deal with all the creatures on the board. Like, I think he just has to double jump here.
Yeah, he does. Or he can go to 1.
Oh, I don't know if I like that play. What good is your Satyr Wayfinder doing here? I guess it can block Death Miss Raptor next turn, but either of those creatures are already lethal anyways. Now remember, Alex only has 6 minutes left on his clock.
Yeah. If he
This is game
somehow
2.
loses
Yeah,
this.
if we go to a game 3, he's going to have to play a lot more fast.
Side out all his crux of fates.
Well, he'll be on the play, so he'll get to hopefully go on the beatdown path. Although his sideboard is all control cards. We see 2 Bile Blight, 2 Crux, 2 Drowning Star. Like he was really gearing against the aggressive decks.
And we're waiting on Alexa here. This is coming at the cost of his clock.
So he opts to take the Satyr damage.
He goes to 1.
Land is not what you want to see.
And it doesn't gain him any life
No,
at this
not
point because
anymore.
he had to block with the Courser there.
So it looks like he has to attack with the Atarka, kill one of the Planeswalkers, play the other Atarka. He can finish off one of the Planeswalkers, but I mean, he's going to just be dead on board after that.
Oh my gosh. Magnus Lanto has just fought his way back into this game.
Yeah. I guess you have to probably take out, what, the Death Mist and the Den Protector?
Yes.
But even then, that doesn't... No, because the Xenagos can just produce a Satyr. Yeah. That Xenagos living was the difference, I think, this game. I'm not saying it was the incorrect move, but, you know...
Just always kill the Planeswalker.
It had to be this kind of series of events that let Magnus back into it. And he has to just feign that he has a combat, or, you know, a kill spell here. Plummet! Oh!
Makes another token. He's going to plummet Dragon Lord Atar. That's what I wanted to see.
No, no.
I'm on the side of the Hornets.
No. Ugh.
In comes the team. Magnus Lanto wins.
We're going to game 3.
We're going to game 3. Can Tellerov win in 4 minutes and 38 seconds?
He can. He's not going to be able to tank as long as he has been. Let's see what he does for the sideboard options. I wonder if he does bring back in like the Whisperwoods and his own Death Mists. I'd really like to see him bring back the Xenagoses as well. I mean, granted, Crux of Fate did keep him in that game, but
yeah,
it's gonna be interesting to see how much the clock is gonna play a factor for Alexa's choices.
I mean, the clock has not seemed to factor in any of his choices thus far.
So he has yet to change anything back from the way he sideboarded.
Lanto's already hit submit.
Like, you got to be thinking, even if you take, or even if you leave in the outpost sieges, you know, that's those are a few triggers every time.
And that seems to be where he's thinking about. His
Yeah,
cursor's kind of just hovering over. He's like, how many triggers can I afford here?
I mean, look at his creatures. They almost all have some sort of trigger, right? Whisperwood has the trigger, Satyr Wayfinder trigger, Tarka trigger, Den Protector, Raptor, Courser. They all have some type of trigger. Definitely not negligible now.
All right.
He's running it back.
We're in.
Get another shot at the players here.
And there we see the opening hands.
Looks pretty decent for Alexa. Not the greatest, but I think certainly a keep. Magnus is mulligan down to a very, very fast but do-nothing 6.
Well, he had
he's opting not to Thoughtseize turn 1. Interesting. Now, why would you not Thoughtseize there?
I don't know. Maybe he's thinking about...
Oh, geez. Now he can just snap off the double. But, I mean, obviously he doesn't see anything now.
Wow.
All right, Alexa, you better use that F6, buddy. Just put down the symbols. F, M, you know, temple. Don't write them all out. No, 4 minutes is plenty of time. Plenty of time.
Doesn't have to play a second Thoughtseize his turn. He knows his opponent has nothing. Draws more of nothing.
No.
Temple of Abandon. Going to scry, try to find something.
Definitely good for Alexa here. He's just going to snap off a Read the Bones. Not having access to double green.
Him snap off anything. I think he's going to agonize over it.
No. He knows. He knows he's under the time constraints.
And the elf gets in. Okay, there's Urborg.
Did not want to see another Atarka.
Yeah, draws a second Dragon Lord.
You know what's funny too? Urborg actually makes his tapping a little bit more awkward as well. Because now all his lands for these.
All right, Xenagos, the Reveler.
Very good draw for Magnus.
Yeah.
And that might just take over the game, honestly.
Okay, he's going to make a Satyr. He's going to crash in there.
Yeah. For mulligan to 6. I mean, he's got a Planeswalker. Alexa not finding anything to do this turn.
Yeah, plays Temple of Abandon. Scries. But he's going to take 5 next turn.
Mm-hmm. I don't think you can afford to Thoughtseize. You've kept count of what your opponent's played. You know he just drew the Xenagos. There's nothing else in hand.
Yeah, so even if he cruxes next turn, which he has to.
Yeah, pretty much.
He's going to just be back under assault from the Xenagos.
Hasty Satyrs. I wonder what he's thinking about now. He knows.
He's just trying to make sure he knows that there's
nothing in Magnus's hand.
Yeah. 3 minutes.
Plenty of time. Plenty of time. I stand by. Oh,
there's
gosh.
a Whisperwood Elemental. Oh my gosh, the perfect card. Well, it just lets him.
Pretty much the perfect draws for Magnus here, right? He drew the Xenagos perfect time. Now, granted, he did get to scry once off the temple, but just
gets his opponent down to 9. Here comes Whisperwood Elemental. Whisperwood Elemental only checks the non-token face-up creature. Oh, there's Hero's Downfall.
That might be a little bit too late here.
Yeah, he's going to have to Crux here, which is going to give Lanto 1 Manifest.
Correct. Off of the Elvish Mystic. Which means he'll still be taking 4 next turn.
Yep, there you go. So you see Crux of Fate, Sacrifice.
And if that Manifest is a Polychronos or something.
There's a Plummet.
Okay. See, that was the type of brick that Alexa needed to Magnus to find.
Okay, but he gets in for 4 here.
Yes, he does.
And even if Alexa can stabilize this, oh, he's got his own Xenagos.
I don't know if that's enough.
Dragonlord Atarka's a turn away.
If he finds an untapped land. Like, I wonder if he just goes for the downfall on the Xenagos here and hope to rip a land to kill both of.
Oh, that's pretty interesting. It looks like he's going to play.
Sure. Well, remember, Magnus doesn't have too much removal besides like Polychronos of his own. So producing his own Planeswalker while getting a creature that can trade off with one of Magnus.
The manifest is a temple of abandon,
Okay,
by the way.
so a whiff.
Yeah.
Oh, and that's going to wrap it up here.
Oh, boy. Nissa comes down. Going to animate a forest. And Magnus Lanto wins the match.
Wow.
That is incredible. That game 2 was epic.
Yes, it was. Back and forth, back and forth.
Did not think he was going to win it up until probably the last 2 turns of the game.
Yeah. Again, he was drawing pretty well, and we see the top 4 bracket.
There you get a look at your bracket. Jasper De Jong playing against Magnus Lanto in the finals. So it's going to be Green Devotion with a splash of red versus
Jasper's running the green-white.
Green-white Devotion.
Yes.
So pretty exciting match there.
Yeah. Both of these guys have locked themselves for at least $17,000.
Oh, that's all.
Just, I mean, they're playing for 8,000 now. 8,000 additional, and all the slots.
Well, it's 8,000 additional, but it's the gold status.
Sure,
and
exactly.
It's that berth at the World Championship.
Yes.
That's. I mean, if you're playing in the. I mean, come on, you've played in your fair share of mock season finales.
Sure.
you have to be thinking about like the kid in the backyard who's like pretending that he hits the home run. You've got to be.
Bruce style,
yeah, you've got to be thinking about like I could get from here to the World Championship.
Ah, so nice.
So one of these 2 guys is going to get to the World Championship. He's going to play against 23, just trophied, platinumed, just the best players from all around the world.
Glistening players.
Yeah. Oh, wow. What a weekend for one of these guys. I mean, great weekend for everybody
Absolutely.
here. Your worst case scenario is $4,000, hang out in Seattle, play a lot of Magic, not terrible. But $25,000, World Championship berth, gold status, you get to like basically play a full season on the Pro Tour. It's a season and an extra Pro Tour because you'll have Vancouver as well,
Yep.
Pro Tour Magic 2015.
Just queues you up for so much, and then you get to come back again.
Yeah.
Do it all again.
By the way, we forgot. You also get to come back to the Magic Online Championship at the end of all this, sometime next year. So, it sounds like we have an interview ready. Yeah, so we have an interview, so let's send it down to the floor where Marshall Sutcliffe is standing by.
I'm Marshall Sutcliffe down here in the feature match area. I've got Magnus Lanto with me, who just secured his seat in the finals. Now, I saw that you had a quick chat with your testing partner, Ole Rade. What did you guys say?
Just that the games were pretty crazy.
Yeah, so talk us through those last couple of games. They were so intense.
Yeah, the matchup is definitely my favor, but with just these few games, anything can happen, and I just didn't think I was winning. I had outs, but they had to come in a pretty particular way.
And they did.
Yeah, probably just like 2 or 3 outs. So, yeah, I got a bit lucky, but yeah, that's the game.
That is how it goes sometimes. Now, that puts you in the finals here. The first round is going to be Vintage. Yeah. You managed to 3-0 Vintage when we played it on day 1. How comfortable are you with your deck?
Pretty comfortable. Actually, I was playing the almost exact same mentor deck as Jasper in testing, and Ole was just beating me with our Grixis deck. So that's why I switched.
Oh, so that's why you switched.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I feel pretty good about the Vintage matchup.
Well, congratulations, Magnus. You've secured your seat. Just one more round to go, and you might be the Magic Online Championship. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, let's send it back to the booth.
Thanks, Marshall, and great job there by Magnus Lanto. But, job's not done yet.
One more to go.
We got a couple of brief messages, and then we're going to come back with the finals of the Magic Online Championship.